So as this month's sequester cuts begin to take effect, my next guest thinks that they're an important step in reducing the debt. He likens them to forcing a 500-pound man to lose 10 pounds. I love that. Congressman Kevin Brady is chairman of the Joint Economic Committee, and he presided over a hearing this morning focusing on identifying other debt solutions. He joins me now exclusively. Did you hear anything new or innovative or surprising in that hearing today?
You know, not necessarily surprising, except that across a very broad ideological spectrum, you've got consensus that when I ask the question, when does Congress and the White House need to act to sustain, to make Social Security and Medicare solvent over the long term, all of them said now, this year. Several of them before June or July was their answer. And so the urgency of solving that is a consensus. Second thing is, everyone's concerned about the growth gap. We know economy's getting better. That's good news. But huge growth gap between this recovery and the average recovery, and even more troubling, more evidence showing in the long term America's economic potential may have shrunk by as much as a third. That has huge consequences.
No, and I want to pick up on that theme, too, because we were just looking at the screen of the distinguished panel that was there testifying before you. One of them was Douglas Holtz-Eakin, who is the former director of the Congressional Budget Office, and he was presenting testimony that when the debt-to-GDP ratio exceeds 90%, that you sacrifice 1 point of growth off GDP. Do you believe that testimony? Did it have an impact on people that were listening?
Yeah, it does. One, it's empirical. You know, the study of countries that have got themselves deep in debt, our global competitors who find themselves in the same situation, their economy slows. And it's a bit like in your business when all your money's going to debt and in credit cards and interest payments and not to reinvesting in your company, your growth slows. Same in America. But the impact is that you've got 1/3 slower growth for the country for the future, big impact on people seeking jobs. But you've got also loss over time of $93 trillion of federal revenues, and that's bigger than all, to put it in perspective, bigger than all of our unfunded liabilities on Social Security, Medicare, and pensions.
And that comes from lost tax revenue because the economy is smaller? Is that where you're getting that number from?
Yeah, just a mere 1% growth gap over time is a huge impact on the economy and on our ability to pay our bills.
Now, you say that this testimony is empirical, that it's right in front of us, it's quantitative, so it's not subjective, and that people have to pay attention to that. But of course, that isn't the case when you present this to Democrats and to the president. You know, they say that cutting back on spending now would damage growth in the economy and cost us jobs in the short term. How do you respond to that?
Well, basically what the witnesses today said, for the most part, is that Congress and the White House is making progress on discretionary spending. More can be done, but they really felt the focus needs to be on how we make Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid solvent over the long time. There was one other area of agreement. You know, I asked, given the Obamacare taxes that have kicked in, the new taxes from the fiscal cliff, absent fundamental tax reform, would raising taxes again be helpful to our economy? No one agreed with that. And so really is a focus on getting our spending for Social Security, Medicare under control, fundamental tax reform.
Yeah, I wonder if the other side of the aisle is listening, and Republicans as well, who continue to spend and don't realize the price our children are going to pay. Congressman, thank you so much for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Thank you, Melissa, so much.
It is an important discussion. It's quantitative. That's why we are continuing it tonight on Money.